Okay, so hello everyone. Today is Wednesday, August the 9th, and we are continuing in our study of A Course in Miracles. We are in chapter 3, The Innocent Perception, section 2, Miracles as True Perception. And we are going to hopefully read line by line and get through it line by line on paragraph 2, since it's short. Last week we thought we would be able to get through it, but next thing you know, it's 6:40. It's 6:28. Oh my gosh, we gotta hurry up. But I think we will be able to get through it today. So let's just begin in prayer. Thank you, Source, Essence, all fulfillment. There is only one source. That source is all energy, all divine, peace, love, strength, glory, provision, providence, and all that is, we are also. As we open our hearts and our minds to the conscious awareness of it, we allow ourselves to be filled with this knowledge, and we allow it to express itself through us as us. As we see our actions, we know that we are listening to that voice, and as we hear that voice, and as we continue to respond and act and think and do, let's remind ourselves that we are thinking and acting as our creator. And as we look through this Course in Miracles today, we're learning some new activities. We're learning some new things that may knock away some old cobwebs that are there that no longer suit us, or we might build up some language that we know how we know better how to use to be more precise in our translation of what Spirit is showing us and telling us. And as we go through this paragraph today, we just know that we're so grateful. We're just so grateful to be together with one another, to explore and experience this excuse me, this new life that we're living. Every day is new, every moment is new, and we're so grateful that we have that we are in a company of like-minded individuals who stand together to learn, to be, to know, and to do. And with that, we release all this knowledge, all this in excitement, all this glory, all this receptivity into not only our conscious minds and our hearts, but also into our homes and our personal spaces and our environment. We allow that vibration to fill itself and heal and cleanse who we are and where we are and what we do. And as we are allowing it to cleanse us and our environment, we spread this, we allow it to release itself throughout our community. We see our community as whole and functioning and happy and complete, building itself into completeness, no matter what it may look like. And as we continue in this knowledge, we allow ourselves to be conscious and whole in the goodness and mercy and glory and greatness of, and we release that not only into our community, but into our our nation and throughout the world. And with that we say, and so it is. Okay, so Harriet, would you like to start? Is everybody here? Am I gone?
No, I'm here. I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Huh?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Oh. Hello, everybody. As was already mentioned, we're on chapter 3, section 2, paragraph 2. And that reads, innocence is not a partial attribute. It is not real until it is total. The partly innocent are apt to be quite foolish at times. It is not until their innocence becomes a viewpoint with universal application that it becomes wisdom. Innocent or true perception means that you never misperceive and always see truly. More simply, it means that you never see what does not exist and always see what does. Wow, that whole paragraph to me is quite profound. Innocence is not a partial attribute. So you can't be partially partially innocent. You are totally innocent. And what I'm getting from that is innocence, truth, all the same.
Yeah. So innocence is not a partial attribute. So does that mean, and so I guess this is a question, because where does growth come in? If I am rearranging my language and my thought patterns, I'm not innocent until it's in totality?
Okay. To answer your question, and this is my opinion, or my perspective on it, is that innocence is total, but there is always room for growth. In other words, you are innocent, totally innocent, or totally, what's the other word I want to use? You're totally in alignment with the creator, the source, the spirit. But best way to put it, there's always room for improvement.
So I don't have to be totally conscious of that awareness. I mean, because I know deep down inside that the essence of who this body is, Penelope, that I call myself, is pure. You know, and it is light. It is not encumbered on any anything that this world holds it to. But if I'm not aware of, if I'm still limited, or I'm still living in some form of limitation at this moment, that doesn't have anything to do with it. So it doesn't. So my conscious awareness really doesn't matter. I guess that's what my question is.
Okay. What I'm thinking is that whatever point we're at, and this is the only way I can express it, whatever point we're at, we are okay at that point. But each moment, each hour that as we go forth in this body, there is something that we can learn, something that the universe is going to give us as we progress as far as time is concerned. Am I making myself clear?
Yeah, you are. Because I really don't So I guess that was what my question is. It doesn't matter whether, because I mean, I do know, I know truthfully that I am Christ filled. That
Mhm.
that much I know. And so that is what innocence is. And that is what truth is. But
Right,
there's still a portion of me that is still grasping and learning and changing and growing.
right,
So so
exactly.
yeah, so so it's so I don't have that's what my question was, is that I don't have to worry about what I'm not. you know.
Who you are at this moment. And I always end my periods of meditation with the phrase, I am better today than I was yesterday.
Mhm.
And at this point, I'm better than I've ever been. And with each well, these are not the exact words that I use, but that's the idea. And then I end it with I'm better and better and better,
Mhm. Mhm.
So making room for
Mhm. Well, that was my question. So yeah, it's answered. Andre, any comments for you?
No, I'm just kind of waiting for this to roll out a little bit more.
Okay. Well, number 2 is it not it is not real until it is total. So that's why I was saying, that's why what my question was. So now I know that, just don't pay attention to what is, to still parts of limitation, because that's the part that is growth. Focus on the fact that there is only truth, and that's what I am filled with, and that's how I can know and recognize my own personal growth, and and not only my own personal growth, but how I relate and see the world at the same time.
okay, I'm with you, but it is not real until it is total. So am I wrong in thinking that in the here and now, it is total? It will always be total as long as as long as I accept the here and now as being my truth, but I am open for more knowledge and understanding.
Yeah, well, that was my question. That was what my question was. So that's what I'm saying,
Okay.
So yeah, that's
Okay.
what I'm saying, it's real. The thing that is real is innocence.
Mhm,
That's who I really truly am in essence.
mhm,
The ego part of me that is still growing, still trying to understand, still, allowing myself to be deprogrammed, and it is. So that's the stuff that I am allowing to, that I am detaching myself from. That's the stuff that's not real. The
mhm,
thing that is real is that, yes, I am filled with the essence of creation. And
mhm.
the more I see myself as that, the more I will be able to see my connection to the world, and how that is also more real than what I can only see, you know, from these five senses. Because this is, you know, I mean, we often call the manifest world the real world, but you know, this is not the real world. The real world is, you know, what is, you know, in spirit.
Mhm.
You know, this is the reflection of the real world. The manifested world is the reflection of the real world. So as we begin to be able to see, know, understand, and be more a part of the real world, which is spirit, which is energy, which is energetic, which is divine, you know, where everything is connected, where there is no separation. You know, that's where the total innocence, that's where total truth, that's where total peace, that's where total love, all of that is.
And you know, while you were talking, I looked up the word innocence,
Mm-hmm.
and the definitions that I'm finding are not okay. Let me see what this one says. The original meaning of innocent: free from guilt or sin, especially through lack of knowledge of evil. Okay, that's good. Blameless, an innocent child, harmless in effect or intention.
Yeah, and of course I'm upstairs now, so I don't have my
Let me see what
because it's, you know, we really have to look it up in the course, from the course.
yeah.
And you know, I know we found it a couple of weeks ago, but it's downstairs. I'm not going back down there. If I go down there, you know, y'all be up here by yourselves.
Right.
I know I'm not going down there. I know I'm not going back.
And I don't have my course glossary with me right
Yeah.
here. Let me see what the revealing word says. H-I-N-O-sense. Emmanuel. They don't even have it in here.
Yeah, I remember that. That was the thing, that, you know, it's not that you know, we had to, you know, that it wasn't easily found. But I know that
Right.
it is integral. It's integral, you know, so that, you know, it's all encompassing. Innocence all is all. You know,
Mhm.
there is no division, there is no separation, there is no you know, just like it says, there is no partial to it.
Mhm.
It's
It's
all
all or
encompassing.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, and that's where we are in spirit. Hey Richard, how you doing? That's where we are in spirit. But you know, because we have been so indoctrinated in our ego, and which is healthy for this world, because you know, it helps to understand that, yes, that you can get ripped off by somebody, you can get tricked by somebody, you know, if you're not paying attention to who and what they are, you know. So you can't live totally by innocence, because you know, we live here, you know, but eventually we do live totally by innocence, because we rise above what's here, you know. So as we grow out of our programming, we become truthful. I gotta close my door. My grandchildren are really having a ball around here. I don't know what's going on out there. I can't even hear myself think. Okay. Okay, any thoughts, Richard? You're just coming in. Any thoughts? We're just on sentence number 2. So we're talking about how innocence is not a partial attribute.
And it's not real until it's total.
Right. Uh-huh.
And in a few minutes, my memory will kick back in. I read something. So one of my card decks that I was working with yesterday, and I also work with it today. One of the cards spoke about innocence, and the way that they described it, the light just went off. Like I understood it fully, and it contributes to it, and it makes me think about this a bit differently. So
What card was it? Can you remember?
I don't, but y'all keep talking. Let me go see if I can grab the book.
Okay. Because I'm gonna say it out loud. Just, is it, because when you were saying that, I wonder if it was the sun. So it would be interesting. It would be interesting, just to see how connected we are.
Right. I haven't drawn the sun yet in my introductory or my 101 course in tarot, for lack of a better way of describing it. But I'm getting there.
Yeah.
It's I checked the other day, and what has been coming up with me a lot is swords, which is telling me I need to get moving. I need to thoughts and ideas are fine, but if you don't do anything about them, they'll never manifest. Yeah.
I'm still here with you all. I know I'm a little quiet today. We're back with this word innocence. And I don't know right now it's a word that I can look and see it, but I can't think about it in me at this point in time, because I have to be too responsible to be innocent. I cannot be naive. I have to think strategically. That doesn't mean that it's not
Yeah, because like he's saying, it's all or nothing.
Exactly. And when I think about it, it's, to me, although the revealing word and the glossary didn't have a definition, but what I'm getting from what is being said here is that you equate innocence with truth. Does anybody else get that message?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's actually what
truth is in the eye.
I think that was the end of. I think that was the end of chapter 2. It says the innocence is truth.
Yeah, and that's the catch, because truth is in the eye of the beholder.
No.
Some,
I disagree.
Is truth. Yeah, truth can be relative, but that's
depending on how we have to move. You can be innocent because you have something, because you have to do certain things. But in the eyes of the masses, it's wrong.
Yeah, so Richard, what's your
So let me unpack a few things, because I think this might be helpful, at least to help me. One is, innocence is something that comes from a deep experience of life, like childlike, but not childish. The innocence of children is beautiful, but it is ignorant. And when I say ignorant, I don't mean it in terms of like ignorant in the way that we say it on this plane. It's unknowing. That it will be replaced. It replaces mistrust and doubt. Well, wait, let me read it. Let me read it the way it's written. It will be replaced by mistrust and doubt as the child grows and learns that the world can be a dangerous and threatening place. But the innocence of a life lived fully has a quality of wisdom and acceptance of the ever-changing wonder of life. That innocence in and of itself is true perception when you erase all of the things that you use to define yourself, your name, your identity, everything that's been given to you by others. When you remove all of those things, what's left is innocence.
Right. Mhm. And
And
that's our true essence.
true essence, right? And that's why I think, and Dre, you said earlier, about truth. And a week ago, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. But these doggone card pulls with this new deck, I got the Osho Zen Tarot deck.
Oh, that's
Okay, see.
that's such a good deck. That's such
Yeah,
a good
I
deck.
love that
Mhm.
deck because
Yeah,
one of
that's
the
a
things
really
that it
good
helped
deck.
me realize and think about was, as a facilitator, when I go out and work and I work in the world, I have to
Mhm,
acknowledge that truth is subjective, because it is in that way. But there
mhm.
is an objective truth, and an objective truth is when you take all of those things away. When I take away Richard, black man, when I take all those things away, what is left is the truth in that I am a divine being that's connected to everything. And that seems to be the absolute truth. Whether anybody agrees with it or not
Mhm.
is that. But I think that's where I was getting, caught up, is in the truth, the subjective truth that everybody has their personal truth. And I spent a lot of time resisting the fact that there was an objective truth, a truth that can be proven. I can prove I'm a divine vegan. So I'll stop there. But those are a couple of things that that have come up in the last week.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, that's really cool. If y'all don't mind, because I want to go there, because as you all said certain things about, your tarots. My cards are sitting here screaming at me right now. They like, if you don't let us out and flip us,
I
I'm
don't.
going to. But you're gonna
Wham!
keep dreaming the way that you're dreaming,
Right.
and I am a little apprehensive right now for some apparent reason.
Hmm.
Um, to uh to put the energy in my cards. Not saying that it's a negative energy, but it's a ah,
Well, Sunday is tarot day, so I'm gonna. Normally something happens. I get sick or computer don't work, or we're gonna do tarot we're gonna do tarot this Sunday.
No
yeah.
matter
We're gonna
what.
do tarot
Richard,
this Sunday for sure.
before
For
I
we
didn't.
move on,
absolutely
Richard,
for
what's the
sure.
name of that deck that you have?
The
The
Osho
Osho.
Zen Tarot.
That's a really, really good deck.
I love this one. That
Yeah.
one, between that one and I got to set aside the whole day if I'm gonna pull out the hoodoo deck. Everything changes. Everything changes when I pull that one out.
I never got the hoodoo deck, but the Osho, I'm really familiar with that.
How do you
With
spell that?
OSHO.
Yeah.
Oh, OSHO.
Uh-huh. That has a unique story because the guy was a cultist. He was like a scammer.
Mm. Oh,
Yeah,
what?
who created the deck itself, but the deck itself is so very powerful.
Yeah, and if y'all ever listen to Osho, he's a scammer,
Yeah.
and yet there's some phenomenal. He's a catalyst for some
Yes.
phenomenal thoughts that I've had in the last week. Like,
Yeah. I think that most scammers are, I think they get so caught up into their world that they become egoistic and they
yeah,
can't see past their ego, and that's their trap.
yeah. Sadhguru is another one.
Yeah,
I actually stopped listening to him because he just started to be offensive.
right. Yeah.
Well,
But anyway, let's go ahead on before we get to, because we do want to finish this paragraph.
well,
Okay,
again,
so
I just
number 3.
Can we hear Dre real quick? I just wanted to hear what Dre had to say.
Okay.
Just again, like I say, it's not that I do not believe in an innocence and that you cannot achieve an innocence,
Right.
but I think you lose as we were saying, as children, there was an innocence as a certain preteen, if you want to say it like that, young adult, and then you lose them and then you're gaining them back. So I think that's where it's coming with this total. So that's where I'm catching the first
Yeah.
3 sentences. I mean, well, the first 2 sentences, which is you lose one, you gain another one, you get one back. You lose one, you lose that, but you still got one. So it's never gonna be balanced until you I guess three's the magic number, the way I'm looking at it from that point of view. You know, where body, mind, and soul is, so you're gonna lose
In
one, you're gonna
sync.
gain one, you're gonna lose one, you're gonna gain one, and it's always gonna be like that until you know you line them up, until you
Mhm.
can hold on, until you're strong enough to hold on to all three at the same time.
Yeah. And that's the mission of the course, is for us to understand that our minds our mind is that what, like the fulcrum, that thing that turns the wheel, that our bodies are filled with ego. The manifest is attached to the fulcrum, but the truth is that we are spirit, which guides and leads the mind, which guides and leads the body. But it also, the ego itself is caught up into the body and the mind. But when the more we merge into fullness, which is balance of spirit, then we can have that alignment, like you were saying, Andre. We can have that alignment of that the body is now filled with innocence because the mind is pure, because the spirit is pure. The spirit is always pure. The mind is the thing that gets where we have to make decisions, and the body is the thing that is the experience and the
It's the
experiential
result, yeah.
thing that we have
Experiences of the mind.
that can affect the mind.
Mhm.
So yeah. So but that's the whole lesson of the course.
Right.
When you actually finish the whole thing, it's all about taming that ego
Well,
and putting that ego into alignment. Many people think it's about getting rid of the ego, but it's not. It's putting the ego where like your mama said, is there's a place for everything, and for everything there's a place.
Mhm.
Yeah. Can I read the third one?
Yes.
The partly innocent, although we said innocence is not a partial attribute, the partly innocent are apt to be quite foolish at times.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to what Andre just said.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that
And
was
that,
my original question is, are we, at this point where we're limited, where we are trusting in our limitation, now we're partly innocent because we're not seeing the fullness of our innocence because we can't see it. It's off so that we can't see the wholeness. We can't see the forest for the trees.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm even looking at it just as simple as us doing something as simple as knowing that you're in a rush and you're jaywalking. If you get hit by a bus, really, that's kind of on you. You even I'm not speaking of death. I'm not speaking of end all to be all. But if you get hit, or a bike messenger clips you or anything, you kind of got to take responsibility for yourself when you know that you are, yeah, I can do it, but I shouldn't, because we all go through those. We've all been at that light, and it's like, I'm gonna go ahead and go real fast right now. And we've all been there when it comes to certain things. So you can't say you're innocent when when you know that you are in a rush.
Right. Now let me
Or
I want, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish.
yeah. I mean, or please help me with the wording, anybody.
Well, here's my thought. Here's my thought is that it seems to me that when I think of the word innocence, I have to think of it in two different ways. I have to think about it on this 3D plane, which is, the example you gave, I think is perfect. When I'm getting ready to cross Warwick to go to a Food Lion, like if I see a car coming in, I'll just step out there anyway and get hit. Well, I'm not innocent in that regard. You know what I'm saying? But when I do a Google search for innocence and I add like spiritual innocence, then I get something a little different. That speaks to a different example that I give you, in that in the last week, I've had such a transitional ascendancy within the last week, where the last 2 days I've been like sitting, processing, dealing with the moon and, this 8/8 that's yesterday. And what I found myself doing was looking at several areas of my life where I had been struggling with. And when I started to channel this idea of innocence, what I found was a calm, a peace, grounded in a consciousness and awareness that all of the stuff that we experience is a simulation. That it's not medicine that makes us feel better. It's what our thoughts are in terms of what's harming us that, it's saying that makes us feel better. And so innocence in a 5D or more in a spiritual connection seems to me more about the truth of how we're all connected, how we
Right.
all are, the divinity that rests in all of us, the fact that there is no other, there is me and other versions of me.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? I hear somebody saying something. That makes sense?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that make sense to you, Dre?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. If I'm looking at it from a for me, not in a spiritual way. If I'm looking at it from a point of view of a scientific way, I can see where that 5D where you're speaking of, and that's why I can say that, like, it all kind of melds into one, and that's why I was kind of, on that point of view of what I was saying as far as juggling, that innocence. You may have all three at one point in time, but that other part of you may not have all three, or may not can hold all three. We feel good. We do. We feel great. We can, we understand what's going on around us, and we can kind of, in our way of inner haven, we harness our senses to understand it. And that point, so we're constantly working on that point of view. But when you're speaking of people who are just coming in that point of view, it's still that juggle of them understanding. So
Yeah.
again, I I'm I'm not disagreeing with innocence. It's just, I think that you grow out of it to grow into it again.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really like that statement. Actually, and when I heard it, it was almost like you get pushed out of it and then you have to go on a journey to get back to it.
Yeah, it's the fool.
It's
It's the
exactly
fool.
there it is. It is the fool's journey, right? And the conditioning and the limited beliefs. And yeah, man, you got me got goosebumps now. The ancestors like that. Yeah, they like that.
Yeah, because I mean, if I can, just jump in and piggyback off of what y'all saying, in truth, we are spirit. We have to learn how to be spirit again.
Yeah.
You know, right now we're still so attached to this material plane that we believe that we are actually real bodies. You know, and yeah, you know, and this body is our symbiotic vehicle because we need the body to exist on this earth plane. But when we really get, if we really become advanced enough, mature enough, spiritually mature enough, we don't need this body, but we can live in this body. And that's what Yeshua was showing us. Well, because, you know, when we can rise again from the dead, we don't need, this body does not die, does not need to die. And it cannot die unless we believe in death.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And this body
we
is
just read about that in Thomas the other day. I mean, you know, that's why I'm saying it's always so amazing how each subject merges into the other subject.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this body is nothing more than a vehicle that is being used to convey whatever message the spirit wants you to have at you know, at this particular time.
Yeah, it's just that we believe in this body so much because we have been programmed to believe that this is all that there is.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm.
that there is a such thing called birth, and that there is a such thing called death, and that there's such thing called separation, and there's a such thing called, you know, maturity, and there's a such thing, you know, all of these words, we believe in those words.
Yeah, and Penn, thank you for saying it the way that you said. That's
Mhm.
how I kind of take the word innocence. I use that with twins right now all the time. I'm going, oh, bruh, y'all got a long way to go. Y'all still so innocent.
But
You
isn't
know,
that beautiful?
y'all
And
so cute. Oh, y'all so cute. Oh, y'all so cute. Oh, please don't ever do anything stupid because y'all so cute. Stay in the house because
Innocence
because
is
because if you ask dad the question, dad does answer the question truthfully. Do monsters exist? Yes. Yes.
Say them all the time.
Mhm, sure do.
So I never like and Penelope can understand this when it comes to me because she's family. I never really paid too much attention to mortal innocence. I couldn't wait to lose it. I couldn't wait to sit at the table with grown folks. I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait.
I think all of us are kind of like that. We all want to be grown until we're grown.
Until we grow.
Until you grown.
And then we wish we were
Until you grown.
those innocent kids again.
Yeah, until you grown.
Then you got to pay some bills.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Until you really understand, and again, taking innocence as we're talking as adolescents, as children, it's even on a different motion in how you deal with your friends and how things change as you got older.
Yeah, but we're still looking at
And
innocence
that you
from an
take.
egoistic perspective,
right.
as
It's like
opposed
the
to looking
Yeah.
at it from a spiritual perspective. And and that is more valuable. You know, we're still putting a lot of value on the egoistic perspective of innocence, but we need to shift that to put more value on the energetic or spiritual or divine aspect of innocence. See it from that vantage point, from that perspective, and, you know, let this part of it just drift away. It's not going to go away as long as we're in these bodies and on this third dimension. It's still going to be here. But the way that we walk on water is by paying attention to from the vantage point of the energetic plane.
right. Um, innocence is the crucifixion of the persona and the personality. And once you do that, there will be a resurrection of your innocence, and you'll become a child again, reborn.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But I think I'm looking at what we about to read, and like a couple of these verses, like I think I'm with you, Harriet, when you said earlier, like it just seems like this whole idea, this whole concept of innocence is less about knowing things and not knowing things, and it's more about no, it's less about thinking this or thinking that, and it's more about knowing true perception, who we are in this universe. And can I read the next one? Because I want to
Yeah.
unpack something.
Mhm.
It is not until their innocence becomes a viewpoint with universal application that it becomes wisdom.
Mhm.
That's powerful to me, because part of the downloads that I've been receiving in the last few days was how people come up with beliefs, and how the
Mhm.
beliefs, become, beliefs go into emotions, emotions go into actions, actions go into results. And one of the things that they were talking about in this was also, there's a certain point in time where knowledge becomes wisdom. And when it becomes wisdom, as it says here, it's a universal application. So no matter what angle you look at something, it's always
Yeah.
true.
Mhm.
And so that seems to be coinciding with how we think about innocence also, is that if when we can look at something and see the whole and understand the whole 360 of it, and it's true no matter where you look at it, then you reach the state of possibly reach the state of innocence and wisdom.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Richard, with that Jedi mind trick, man. That's hard. I like
Yeah, man, that Yoda is deep, boy.
that's that Jedi mind trick right there. But no, I definitely agree with you on that. Because that was a question. I saw the third one as well, and wanted to kind of go right where you just went to, which was my question, is that even though we may be, as long as we know that what we're doing is innocent and it has no malice, is that the protection of innocence?
I don't
Yeah.
think innocence. Well, here's a question: does innocence in this case have anything to do with malice, or is it more about the perception in which how we see things?
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm using.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, because innocence in itself is without anything.
Right.
It's without malice. It's without fear. It's without doubt. It's
So,
it has none of those things. Innocence is in itself whole. It's just innocence.
Gotcha.
And,
So
and
if we're still seeing malice within innocence, then we are number two and number
well,
three, the
no, well,
partly innocent are apt.
not seeing malice in innocence, but seeing malice come against innocence.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We don't see malice at all. We don't look at malice at all.
You wouldn't, so therefore it's just one thinking. It's one
Right.
thinking.
Yes. One mind. Then that's that mind of Christ. That's that the spiritually energetic divine mind.
I mean, throughout his teachings, he's telling us that we have to become like little children in order, and I forget now who it was, but somebody said, well, does that mean I have to re-enter my mother's womb? He says, no, you have to think like a child,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mhm.
I don't have the scissors.
So,
When I get
and I think that's the whole premise of this whole thing, because with children, they accept what you tell them.
Yeah.
And if it is good, it makes them, and children that are innocent children are delightful to be around because they will say things. And sometimes you say, is that a child or is that an old person? Because whatever it is they have said in their innocence, it's like the profound wisdom that somebody that's been around and experienced has had over the experience of somebody who's been around for a while is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There go your mama.
Huh?
I was talking to Derica.
Oh, okay.
She's in here. Hope just came in. Yeah, and that's the thing is that because we are in this third dimension, and the majority of humans, the world, we still believe in manifestation. We believe in this. So we really can't teach our children how to continue to grow in innocence. We teach them that, okay, yeah, you can't fly like Superman because you will fall down because there's such a thing called gravity. Because we have not been able to teach our children because we don't know how to float, you know, because we haven't gotten to that spiritual level or that energetic level yet, so that we can express and expand ourselves into the wholeness of innocence. So yeah, we do have to teach our children that how the rules of the road, of this earth plane, of the rules of the road. You know, yeah, if you're in a rush and you walk into traffic, you might get clipped by a bus. That might happen to you. But you know, if we could learn how to live energetically, we could walk through the bus. We can't get clipped by the bus because we have such wholeness, you know, WHOLENESS. We have such wholeness that we are the bus, we are the road, we are the air, we are all of those molecules. So we can walk through the bus, get to the other side, come back, and nothing has been disrupted.
Not a scratch on us.
Yeah. But we have, but I think it's going to take all of us to get there before it can happen. That's just in my opinion.
And I'm looking for an answer as to how this can come to be, because we as adults will feed into our children certain ideas, certain concepts with don't do this and don't do that, because if we give them an opportunity, or if we confront them with the question, you want to do that? You want to put on a cape and fly like Superman? What do you think will happen? Instead of telling them, this is what's going to happen, if we force them or cause them to think about it before they actually try it. Because, I mean, don't yogis sometimes levitate?
All the time. It's through training. And you know, it's that's the thing that's amazing. That's the thing that's amazing, because there is nothing limited to us. I mean, I bet you everybody in this room has had some type of what we would call a supernatural experience as children, that, you know, when you tried to explain it to an adult, they say, well, okay,
that's just hogwash.
or
Yeah.
you go on, lay back down, or, stop telling those lies, or, go on, get on out of here, but they just didn't know. And they weren't really ready to realize that wholeness and that truth. And eventually we let go of it too, because we get to be programmed by this third dimensional world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
I have always, I think, been weird, for lack of a better
yeah,
word.
I think everybody in this
Thank you. I was about to say, because I was
we're all
going to say,
weirdos.
I was going to say, let go of it. Let go. Somebody was in, I had a couple people walking around here last night.
Of course you will. We're all
But what when and being weird, when you express that weirdness and you are shut down in one way or another, it kind of gets buried, and you don't have the opportunity to develop it so that it can be of benefit, not just to you, but to those around you. Well, it's frustrating, is the best way that I can put it, because I feel like if I know with my children, when they would say things to me that somebody else would consider weird, or if they did something or said something or whatever, I would just kind of listen. I wouldn't comment one way or the other. And I probably was not helping them by not responding. But I don't feel like I was deterring them by not responding, because to respond in a conventional way would actually put the brakes on whatever was in the developing within them when they were growing up. And one right now, I mean, he's on that journey. The other one, and the one that I saw it in first, is the one that has really shut down.
Mm-hmm. But that's just those are choices in life. And I think our life takes us to wherever we need to be at this moment. First of all, for our karmic design. Also, I think how much effort we're willing to put into it, and what creation really needs out of us.
And also, I think we need to be encouraged. Not only the children need to be encouraged, but we as adults need to be encouraged, because for so many years, I was not a part of a community or in touch with people that were weird like me, and when you don't have it, it's just like you ride bicycle as a child, and then you get to a point where you're not riding a bicycle anymore, and the next time you get on a bicycle, you might fall, you might it's going to take a little bit, sometimes maybe just 5 minutes or so, to get back to that proficiency of being able to ride a bike without any with the confidence that you had as a child when you were riding a bike. And when you don't practice, well, it's just like when they talk about a doctor and a lawyer practicing their profession. And practicing their profession, they're acting on what they have learned. And if we are not given the opportunity, or we don't have the outlet to practice that weirdness, for lack of a better word, we lose something in translation, but once we get back into it, it's not that difficult to catch up, so to speak.
Mhm. So let me ask Richard, what was that card that you had earlier?
It was the Innocence card.
What's the innocence card?
I mean, that's the title of it. It's one
Oh,
of the major arcana.
oh.
I can't
And
tell you what it's.
what deck is that
How
from? The
many-
Osho deck?
That's the Osho, yeah.
Oh, okay, from the Osho deck. Okay. Yeah, because the Osho deck is different from
Yeah.
traditional tarot. Okay.
Yeah, and
Mm.
it's and its major arcana is it's card number 29.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry,
20
19. I'm sorry, 19, not 29,
Oh.
19.
Oh, so the sun. So it was the sun. Oh wow. See, this is what I'm talking about, y'all.
Yes.
We are. We are right there in the middle. When you said it was the innocence card, let me go look it up. I said immediately in my mind that it was the sun. And
no,
I
you
said
said it, you
and I
verbally.
said, yeah, and I
Yeah.
said it out loud because I wanted to be able to confirm that that's the card that it was. So we are doing this.
Mhm.
We are living this universal application. We are in our innocence because we purposefully are living divinely. We're doing it on purpose. So we got it, y'all. Let's
Yeah,
start
I
moving
think
some mountains.
what I will say is, there's something that Andre brought this up before, and I think that's also, relevant too in terms of thinking about innocence as the Fool card. So the Fool card also has sort of a similar,
That naivete.
yeah, exactly. But at the beginning of the journey, and it's almost like, the example that I used when I was talking to somebody the other day was like, rather than going somewhere with your cup full, in this case, go with your cup empty so that you can take
Fill it
in.
up. Mhm.
Right.
Mhm. Okay, so let's do number 5. I can read it. Innocent or true perception means that you never misperceive and always see truly. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I got some work to do on that.
Yeah. And I think that's that part of Harriet, you're good at the 50 principles. Which principle is this one?
I have to, I'm
Yeah.
not that good. Let me look it up.
Yeah, because as the more we detach from our egocentricity, where we're thinking of self only, when the less separate we are, but the more integral we become, we can see everything because it's just like the Matrix. It's just like the Matrix. You can see everything because everything is in code. Nothing is there are no separate entrances or entities. Everything is one thing, so you can see everything all at once. So I can see truly. I could see what you were thinking, or by what you were saying. I can see the truth in that. And we all know, sometimes somebody says something, and we know that that person is not telling us the truth. We can see exactly right straight through them. And sometimes it's more difficult to see what they're saying because of the subterfuge that they surrounded themselves in, or how closely and I'm paying attention. So I think that as innocence or true perception means that you never misperceive and you always see truly. Yeah, that's something we grow into, but that's, you know, it's something that I can see, I can see fully. It's definitely a great goal to have.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to stop thinking 2 steps ahead. You know,
Mhm,
that's how I take certain things.
mhm.
I constantly think 2 steps ahead. Uh, it's just because you got to, you know, and not necessarily, and not all the time, but when it comes to certain things, but it's just easier to do it with everything. So
Hey, bro, you say you got to. Why you got to?
in a sense to
When you say what you say, you got to look 2 steps ahead. And I was just curious, why you got to look 2 steps ahead? Why you got to? Why you have to?
because of certain avenues that I have chosen to go. So
Mhm, mhm. You
so
believe it.
Is it because of
You
the
believe it.
avenues that you have chosen to go, or is it because that is the way you were programmed in your formative years?
no, it has nothing to do with program. It became a situation. They became situations that either you have to go 2 steps further to make sure that you're on time.
Because you believe it. Once you stop believing it, you'll be able to see everything clearly. And this is what this sentence is saying,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, so, yeah. I'm agreeing with.
Once we stop believing that we have to think 2 steps ahead. Because I do that too. I do that too, you know. But once we start believing that I can see clearly all things now as it is, there's no need for me to see 2 steps ahead, because I already live in the future. The same way I live in the present, the same way I live in the past. There is really actually no time. So, I can't get slicked. I can't, I can't get, whatever is going to happen because it's supposed to. I can't stop anything from happening. I can't, make it happen, you know.
I have a question, and maybe y'all can help me out. This with what we're speaking of is innocence and in perception. Where does feeling come in? Where do feelings come in?
Mm.
Comfortability come. We're speaking. I
Me
know.
personally, I think they come because of ego.
Mhm.
There's that emotional level of mind that attaches, I don't know, because I don't know all of the brain stuff, that attaches itself to different levels of, serotonin or dopamine, or those things that cooperate with the body. So emotions, whatever emotion that I'm thinking, there's a corresponding level of stuff that happens to my body. So now my body feels that as an experience, and it's up now as I grow more in spiritual awareness, then I can decide, okay, this is my feeling. I am experiencing this emotion because I am experiencing this thing in my body, because whatever emotion is going on in my mind, so that it can relate to what I need to balance myself out here in this manifested plane. That's what I think. That's what I think.
That was
But
deep,
that was a
man.
real good question. Yeah. Anybody else's
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
You asked, I was just looking over the miracle, 50 principles. And number 22, miracles are associated with fear only because of the belief that darkness can hide. You believe that what your physical eyes cannot see does not exist. This leads to a denial of spiritual sight.
Mm.
I think that kind
Maybe
another
you,
one.
I think you muted yourself or something for a second.
Oh,
Say
okay.
that again.
The other one that no wait. Oh, number 30. Yeah. The other one that I came across that kind of answers your question, the miracle dissolves error because the Holy Spirit identifies error with false or unreal. This is the same as saying that by perceiving light, darkness automatically disappears.
Mm.
And I think they kind of answer that question of innocence.
Mhm.
Dre, what was your question again, bro?
Where does feeling, where do our feelings play a part into this innocence? You know, you can be innocent and be angry. You can be innocent and be happy. You can be innocent and be jealous. You can be, you can be innocent in love. You can be innocent in hate. And what I mean, and I'm just using these words as far as what I mean is feelings, but as far as speaking to you all, the energy that that your body can change into when you go from one vibration to another.
Right. When
Where, where,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. Where do you think that? Where do you all think? Again, that question. Where do you all think that plays a part in understanding our innocence?
Yeah,
Emotions.
right. What I'll say is what I felt in the last couple of days when I felt like I was really having moments where I was tapping into innocence. Um, I can tell you that the way that I felt was it wasn't joy and happy, it wasn't sadness, it was just contentment. Everything is what it is, and I'm at peace with it.
Mm.
That's it. That was where I
Yeah,
was. Now,
yeah, I
what
agree. I
and
mean,
what
I
I'll
agree. I love that feeling. I love that feeling. Like, man, got over that mountain.
right. But the
You
way that
know,
I really wanted to respond
just to
was
feel.
to
You
ask you
know,
when you have a moment and you are truly in your sort of alignment, and some people call it the vortex, when you in that
Mhm.
space, when you're in that space, what is the feeling that you have when you're in that space, when you feel like you are in pure, true alignment? What is that feeling?
Words can't describe it for me.
Right. So what I would say is that there's this sort of association with when we're feeling like we're in the vortex, that we're in alignment, that we are seeing truth and we understand ourselves and we see the world in that way. There's a as you say, Harriet, a sort of maybe even an undescribable feeling that's associated with it. At other time frames, you may be mad about something or sad about something or so on and so forth, but the compass, like it's nothing wrong with those emotions. But what I'm getting right now is that the compass says to us that knowing the truth is also us knowing when we're not in our truth.
Well, yeah, exactly. Just the same as Penelope was just saying.
Right.
When someone is lying to you, and you can look them in the face, and you're like, man, you lying, and you let it go. You just, what I'm saying. You're like, man, I
It
ain't
ain't
even.
worth the hassle.
It ain't even, and you know that it's, you know that it's a lie, or you know that, you know, this is something that this person, it's out of this person's hands, and they need to use something, they need to use some you for a point of view, like they're coming to you because they have nowhere else to go. You
Right.
know, when you're aware of those things and you have those feelings and you understand that point of view, and you can see that point of view, and you
Mhm.
know that, you know that it's a, you're coming from a point of view of honesty.
Right.
How, you know, again, how do you deal with certain, you know, do you deal with certain feelings, or
Mhm.
after the fact of it? Because well, yeah, after the fact of it,
Mhm.
because you may not, you may not, you may have been there for a person, but you may have not helped that person as much as you thought you did.
Got you. Got you.
And we've been there, you know. I'm just asking a question because I'm speaking of 3D world right now. And I'm speaking of where we are right now in these bodies.
Yeah,
I
I think
Right.
understand.
everything is a lesson. You know, we're learning a lesson, they're getting a lesson. Anybody that we're dealing with is a part of whatever our lesson is. You know, I got a lesson. What do I get out of it? You know, it may be for me to help them in their lesson, but it may be for me not to pay attention to their lesson, but only to pay attention to my lesson.
Yeah.
You
So,
know,
yeah, that's what I mean. So,
Yeah.
we internalizing that, and is that bringing our innocence back to us when certain situations, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hate to go
Yeah.
down a big rabbit hole, but
but you know, we love rabbit holes.
No, but
but but you know, when we know that we have accomplished something, whether helping or something with ourselves, or just being there for someone who we care about, you know, things like that, those, is that form of innocence that is growing back or coming back?
I think so.
I think so. I think it,
Because
like you
yeah,
said earlier, it's about growth.
yeah,
You know, so it is getting back to
that
our original
awareness.
our original place.
Yeah, we're becoming more and more aware of you know, of that, you know, and that's what our lesson is. Let's move on to number 6, because it's 6:24.
Mm.
More simply, it means that you never see what does not exist and always see what does. Well, this is what we're talking about.
Mhm. And it says
Yeah,
never and always.
yeah.
Right.
Well, you know, this is the Course of Miracles. It will be,
And ain't no in between.
yeah, it
It's
is
not a
very
partial.
convoluted.
It's not a
Very
partial
convoluted.
attribute, that's for sure.
Yeah. And this says more simply.
Right.
It means that you never see what does not exist. And, you know, and that's just, and we want to, that's the point that we want to get to. We want to get to the point where we don't see what does not exist. The stuff that does not exist is this, most of the stuff that is manifest. Manifestation really is a, like the shadow side of spirit. It's the reflective side. It's the part that we can touch, feel, taste, and see and hear, you know, but it doesn't really exist in spirit. In the spiritual world, there is no taste, there is no touch, but it is so much more than just taste and touch. You know, it doesn't exist, but it is more so than what we think that it is. And that in itself is a conundrum. You know, like God says, taste and see
See,
Because I'm
taste and see
screaming.
that I am good. You know, how do you taste and see if you know how good God is? How do you taste God?
I
You
mean,
know,
yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing that I kind of gotta go against. I think, you know, our senses are one of the greatest things that we were given, and you know, it's yes, it everything that God has given us, we in some shape, form, or fashion has been corrupted, But I think, we're studying the book of Enoch, and where we are right now, where Enoch is in heaven, they're trees that bear fruit. And
Mhm.
now what type, now I mean that you can eat, and that
Mhm.
the tree of life. I think taste, and these are the things that we are made in that image. So I think that these are the things that we were kind of supposed to enjoy as far as that point of view. Now, as far as I think, again, we're speaking of that. I think we were we were given knowledge that, and we were too young to have it, and with that knowledge that was given while we were not ready for it, you have to take it takes generations to understand it and be able to dissect it, and it goes the way that it goes. It went reciprocal. But I mean, that's again, rabbit hole. But I do think that as far as our senses, I think that's one of the best things that we were given, and one of the graces that we were given, to understand um where we were placed. Because again, we were placed here on earth, whether you want to call it Eden, or you want to say it fell and it's Malakuf. It's still where neither heaven where heaven and hell still wants a piece of it. So I I I think that's something that we're given, and I don't think anything else has that. Not the way that we have. But I digress.
Yeah, and I think that just to kind of chime in with where you're coming from. I think that the thing that we're learning from the course is not to be attached to it. Don't just simply be attached to the material world. Don't just simply be attached to the ego. Don't see ourselves as separated. Those are the things that yes, we can enjoy it, we participate in it, we live it, we experience it, but don't think that this is all that there is.
You can be in the world, but not of it.
You can be in the world, but not of it. Exactly.
Yeah, I was thinking about the senses and how great it, like Dre was saying, how great the senses are. And then I started thinking about, but there's other senses, there's other
Mhm.
things that
Mhm.
we don't even know of yet. And perhaps the pursuit of innocence um is actually sounding like the more we embody that innocence, the more we become more aware of more spiritual truths that have yet to be revealed.
Mhm.
Because I
So
don't think
right.
I have a strong feel. Matter of fact, it's a fact. For me, it's a fact that in every conversation that I have about spirituality and religion and just the unseen of
Mhm.
what's invisible, the more I talk about it, the more I realize that we don't even have the language to really
Right.
talk about it the way
Yeah.
Should be
it should
Yeah.
discussed.
be.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
The dialect is so different.
And that's how In the Haven started, because how do we that's why we're a discussion group, because how do we phrase this intellectually, what spirit is telling us spiritually? How do we express this? So okay, 6:30, y'all. So let's do our roundtable real quick. What did we get from today's class, and how can we apply it to our lives?
Well, I'll go first. It Today's lesson just re-emphasized and kind of hit the nail on the head as far as truth and innocence is concerned for me. And what I'm seeing here is just continue on this path, and at some point in time, I may become an enlightened ascendant.
Yeah, I know that's right.
Mm. Mm,
because that is the goal. Thank you, Harriet. Who's
Mhm.
next?
I go. What this confirmed for me was that there were moments in the last couple of days where I've had moments of innocence.
Mm,
Um, and but then there are also moments where I was partly innocent, to where I was quite foolish.
mm,
Forgot, that I was a divine being, and I'm started worried about stuff that really was below my attention need at
mm,
the time. So this kind of confirms, what it is that I felt and I knew at the time. And it was ironic because I did a card pull and pulled the card, which was something I was saying, what I was not doing well. And I got the innocence card. So I'm like, okay, all right, cool. But it's also making me realize that there's a greater aspiration in terms of um wait, maybe there isn't a greater I won't say greater. I don't know. I'm not quite sure if it's possible to be innocent all the time. We'll I'll meditate on that on my walk this afternoon. But I think every single one of us has had moments where we've had this sort of spiritual innocence. And then we've definitely had time frames when we haven't. And what I've done recently, which this kind of confirms also, was this idea of universal application. That if I can look at something at a full 360, and then no matter where I look, it still is the same thing, then
mm,
it is what it is. And there's a
Mhm.
certain level of that then pushes that information from being knowledge to being wisdom that is true. Um, and regardless of what anybody else says, for me, I've already seen it in this particular circumstance, so I know it's true. And it doesn't have to be true for anybody else, but it is for me.
wonderful, beautiful. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. How about you, Andre?
Um, what I've learned is thank you all for again listening to me rant. I knowing that I'm with like-minded people, it makes me a little bit for me to pull my energy down a little bit more again. I don't know why it's high as it is right now. So I'm just kind of like 60 for some apparent reason, not in a bad way, but just moving very fast and thinking very fast. So you all have given me the courage again to go ahead and get me a nice meditation in early this evening, and turn some cards over, and and see what's going on. And I do have them, and they're not going to tell me anything that's in a negative point of view. It's just more or less the direction where I'm looking for, which you all give me as well. So that's what I've learned, and also what I'm definitely going to be practicing for the next couple of days. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think what I got from this class today, it is a a confirmation that truth is truth. One of the things that I'm able, and I've I've always been able to do this, but now when I do the thing that I do, which is it's easy for me to put everything together. I can see the big picture, and I can see the individual pieces that go in the big picture at the same time. But I always doubted myself from what it was that I was seeing or what it was that I was experiencing. Now, this right here is giving me confirmation is that I, I I'm not I really am not doubting myself. What I have been doing is not believing myself. And to get the emphasis away from the doubt, but to put the emphasis into to its proper place, which is belief. So now I'm going to begin to believe myself, and that's the only thing that I'm gonna see. I'm not gonna look at anything else that I don't want to see. I don't want to see it anyway. So why am I looking at it? It's just like, why am I still looking at this turd in the toilet stool? I've already seen it. So let me stop looking at it. Let me stop imagining it. Let me stop, rehearsing it. Let me stop being afraid of it. Let me not, because I don't want to see it anyway. So, flush it, let it go. And now see the truth of what I want to see is health, prosperity, love, happiness, victory, strength, all. So let me live that. So that's what I see so this is what I got from this class today. So, and I want to thank each and every one of you. I always say this all the time, for coming with me on my mystical magical ride. Thank you all so much for just joining me on this, because I wouldn't can't say it wouldn't happen for me, but it's happening to me quicker.
Well, thank you for inviting us. Really.
Yeah, no, thank you. And by the way, I got a new session for y'all. So Penny, we could set that up.
Set what up?
I got a new session for y'all.
Okay, all right. Well, it's that time now. Anyhow, it's that time.
I got a new one. Is. And I think it made me think about it, because I just built it up. I just built the bare bones yesterday. It's crazy because I woke up and I couldn't do no other work except this. Everything that whole day was leading me to how beliefs get to emotions, get to actions, get to results. It's the BEAR method. And so I want to take y'all through the BEAR method, because it's actually a practical thought process. When you're faced with a situation, with a circumstance, there's a thought process that you can go through. And I'm going to take y'all. So I got a couple of ways that I'm going to take y'all through it, but I think this is the one that's going to really help people develop some perception around any particular situation that happens. And I'm going to use tough situations like stuff we see on the internet. You go on the internet, you see a white cop beat another black dude. All right, cool. That's the circumstance. Now let's talk about what we believe and how our beliefs trigger our emotions.
Yes.
That trigger our actions, that trigger our results, and how different it would be if we looking and stepping into our higher self, rather than when you step into your higher self, the first thing you think of isn't necessarily your beliefs, but what is the result that I want? And then work from the back, beliefs and so on. So I'm gonna take y'all through that, but I've been actually practicing that for the last couple of days unknowingly, and it just came to me yesterday. So I want to share that with y'all, because it's fresh, and it has, like I said, my last 2 days have been really interesting, kind of practicing.
Okay, fantastic.
Sounds great.
Okay, so I have the 26th open. Let's see, 6/13. Tomorrow is, what's tomorrow?
The 10th. Thursday.
No, I'm talking about next. This Saturday is the second. I mean, this Sunday is the second. So this is tarot. We got to do tarot. We got to do tarot. The third. So so you want to do it? So either the 26th or the 27th.
Let's do the 27th.
That's Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that same time works for me. That we did the last one.
Yeah, from 2 to 4.
Yeah,
we're of course, because the pen that I had, the children has, because I got a whole lot of color pens, and so now they got that one, and this one is, the ink is going out of it. But anyway, so, and what you say, BEAR, BEAR method?
Yes.
Okay, BEAR method. Okay, so what I'll do is that we will, on the 26th, where we normally have an open discussion, or I didn't have anything planned for that, so let's do the 26th will be Kabbalah.
Okay.
Is that
Sounds
good?
good. Yes,
Okay, fantastic. So we got chakras coming up this Sunday.
Saturday.
Hey, this Saturday. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, chakras coming up this Saturday, which is 2 to 4. And you said we are on the
Throat.
throat
Yeah.
chakra.
Mhm.
Okay. Now tomorrow we're going to start a new segment. Instead of doing I am at 11 in the morning, we're going to do things that, for our physical bodies, our mental bodies, and our spiritual bodies. So we're, looking at herbs, looking at vitamins, looking at exercise, looking at all of these physical things so that we can not only tie in our physical, we can tie in our emotional, we can tie in all, we can tie in tarot, we can tie in, working with crystals, we can tie in working with herbs. We can, so all of those, so we want to do something where we can put all of our modalities together and integrate that way so that we can start, seeing how we can integrate with all of our modalities. So that's going to be from 11 to 12 tomorrow. And we're starting in on just building energy. So, since we are energy, let's have energy. Let's be energy. Let's see. And then from 7 to 8:30, we're continuing in our study of, our book reading of Flight. So, and that's getting really interesting. That's all about quantum physics and time travel and a whole lot of interest and intrigue. So it's really interesting. It's a great book. And the following Saturday is the third Saturday is Book of Enoch. And then we got Kabbalah and we got the Bear System. So we got this month settled on down. Yay.
All
It's
right.
looking
All right,
good.
sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, fantastic. Would anyone like to close us out in prayer? Let one of you fellas do it.
Go ahead, Andre. I'm gonna let you go ahead today.
Oh, okay, I'll take it. Again, Heavenly Father, thank you for another day. Thank you for the blessings that you've given us. Thank you for letting us understand and define the word innocence and understanding a perception, not only the perception that we see as you have given us as individuals, but the perception that we can all come together and see you in what you have really created outside of our imaginations, outside of the world that we have now inhabited. We come together to honor those things. These things we say, peace and blessings.
Thank you. Peace and blessings.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Fantastic class today, everybody. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Thank
All right,
you. Y'all have a blessed day.
All right, you too.
right.
All right.
Love
bye.
you all. Love you
Bye-bye.
all. Bye.
Love you too.
Here goes this all. I can get it. I have the hardest time getting